to Gaza in an operation carried out with Jordanian Air Force.
It comes 2 days after at least 112 people were killed as crowds rushed an aid convoy in the territory. Tess Ingram is from the humanitarian aid agency UNICEF, and she joins us from the Jordanian capital, Amman. First of all, the aid drop by the US, it's kind of desperate measures, but I guess you're glad that some aid is getting through.
Yeah, absolutely, Rachel. We welcome all aid into the Gaza Strip at the moment because the situation is so desperate. People are hungry, they're exhausted, they're traumatized. So any and all aid that we can get into the Gaza Strip is welcome. But what we're really pushing for is more aid via the land routes, because that's really the only way that we can get aid in at scale at the moment into the Gaza Strip.
And do you think that's only really going to be possible when they agree a ceasefire, which does look like it could be imminent?
Yeah, we're really hopeful that a ceasefire is imminent. We've been calling for the need for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire for months now to try and save children's lives, because aid delivery at scale is just not happening at the moment. We're barely getting in 100 trucks on a good day, and it used to be 500 before the escalation in hostilities in October. So it's really dire, and we need to get more aid in, and failing kind of any change to the amount of aid that's getting through the crossings at the moment, then a ceasefire really is the best way for us to be able to scale up. And of course, it's desperately needed for Gazan children who have endured almost 5 months of fighting now.
Well, the World Food Programme, run by the UN, is saying that the area is on the brink of famine. Does that tally with what you're hearing from your partners in the region?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we have been, making the same warning since December that famine is looming, people are hungry, and we're just not able to get the food that we need into people at the moment, particularly in the north of the Gaza Strip, where access has been much more challenging. Colleagues of mine were in Al Shifa hospital earlier this week, and they said that they saw many malnourished children and pregnant women, and spoke to doctors about how the situation is getting worse there by the day. And we're beginning to get reports now of children dying from malnutrition, which is just shocking when the aid is, several kilometres away.
We saw the tragic loss of life last week, also centred around those aid trucks, which was just an illustration of how precarious it is. Once you've got the aid and got it in there, to actually get it to the people who need it. How do you plan for that?
Look, what happened at the roundabout was incredibly tragic, that more than 100 people were killed and more than 700 injured. Just trying to get the basics that they need for survival is not something that should happen. People under international humanitarian law should have safe access to aid. So that incident was really tragic. It is something that needs to be investigated, and the UN has said that there'll be an independent investigation into that. But of course, when we're bringing aid up into the north, it's very dangerous because of the ongoing hostilities, and as you say, because of the desperation of the people there that haven't had safe or consistent access to food for months.
Is UNICEF actually operational in Gaza at the moment? Do you have people on the ground there still?
We do, yeah. We have a team. They're running missions as much as they can. As I said, they just went to Al Shifa Hospital in the north, delivering nutrition supplies and medicines. And we're still operating in Rafah, where most of the displaced population are now living. Estimates of about 1.5 million people in this really small southern border town, and UNICEF is there, bringing them blankets and food and nutrition supplies. And we're also trying to get water systems back up and running. But of course, it's incredibly challenging work given the situation on the ground at the moment.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.